Evening all.
Evening.
Mike. Okay. Andy Burke, like to get us underway for Mike, please?
Hi Mike, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. Mike, you've been the poor sod that's had to sit in front of us on a Friday before an away international and make a case why this time it will be different for Scotland. But the win over Wales seems to have changed the dynamic. Stuart was talking about it's taken a load off. Maybe the guys are a wee bit more relaxed. Are you sensing that this time around?
Yeah, the Welsh game was, as Hoggy said there, that was a big one to get off the back. Against one of the top tier nations, to get that away win was something really big for us. It doesn't mean that playing away from home is any easier. Like this game is as hard as any that we'll play, and whether we won the game in Wales or not, this is always going to be a really tough game. But that Wales game has given us a little bit of confidence. I think that these wins are very much possible, and they're wins that, if we play well to the best of our ability, then they're definitely within our reach of winning them.
It's 10 years, obviously, since you won in Dublin. Ireland have obviously got a huge amount of experienced players coming back into the team, but they are undoubtedly a team short in confidence. How do you go about exploiting that?
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, but the kind of messages that you're reading in the press are quite negative towards what Ireland have done this kind of campaign. Georgia obviously played really well in difficult conditions last week and kept the game pretty close. England at Twickenham, they're one of the form teams, if not the form team in the world at the moment, and they had a 20-odd point win against Wales. So, what I'm reading in the media doesn't necessarily match up with results that I'm seeing or bits of play that we're seeing. And remember, Sexton's been out for those games as well, and he's a huge part of what this Irish team's about.
Thanks, mate. Good luck.
Thank you.
Right, Ivana?
Hey, Mike. Obviously, it's just 2 months until the Six Nations comes around. It's a rare situation to be in. How does that measure up in terms of the importance of this game? Because whilst it's been dubbed a Nations Cup third, fourth playoff, it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant period for us, actually. Usually you'd only get this every 4 years, where you get this sustained amount of time with the players. But I think we're up to, it's about eight weeks now that we've had the players for. And in that time, you get to build relationships, you get to build ways in which you're trying to play. There's better familiarity with style of play and getting that message across. So to start with, like that period's been brilliant for us. It is just a short period going into the next one. But, I don't know. You're right. It doesn't sound like a third, fourth, or feel like a third, fourth place playoff. It's just another game in the campaign. But obviously, the higher up the table we finish, the better. But leading into the Six Nations is great preparation for that as well.
What way do you have to change the way you're going to play Ireland? I mean, do you focus more in defence, or like we were saying there, Ireland's confidence is down? So is it more about what didn't happen in February, is taking those chances because it was a score that just separated the two of you? How much do you kind of change your game plan for this one specific team?
There are obviously things that you look at specifically for specific opposition, but we can concentrate on what we do, and if we feel we can do that really well, then that'll put pressure on any opposition that we play. Obviously, there'll be little tweaks with potential plays or strategies against some opposition. Obviously, taking the weather into consideration as well. We're at Aviva today, and it was wet and windy and miserable, and obviously that'll have a part to play as well.
Grand. Thanks very much. Best of luck. Well, maybe not too much, but yeah.
I was going to say.
Thanks. Eleanor?
Hi. Do you think playing at this time of year has made a difference in terms of the style of rugby and the games that we've seen?
In this part of the world, you can have this weather in July as well as November, December. So you just have to adapt to the conditions that you're playing in. And I think it was mentioned before, Hoggy was talking about the amount of kicks that are happening. And I think we've just got to try and be positive with the reason for why we're kicking. To create counter-attack ball, to put pressure on opposition, to give us better positions to attack from. But I don't think, we've played in tough conditions in the Six Nations. What was that, February, March against England, and the worst conditions we played in. So, the conditions are relevant, but I don't think it's specifically just this time of year.
And Stuart was talking there about the sacrifices that the players have made in being together for such a long time and not seeing their families and everything. So how pleased have you been with kind of the way that they've all handled the situation and what you've got out of it in terms of that bonding?
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it as coaches, as management, that daily access to the players, not just from a rugby point of view, but from a social point of view, getting to know them as well. David Edge, the operations manager, he's put some amazing things in place. We've had, coffee club mornings where coffee clubs have come into the hotel. We've had different food trucks. We've had a golf simulator. Like, there's lots been going on behind the scenes to keep the guys entertained, but with that kind of underlying theme of getting the rugby right on the pitch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eleanor. I'll move on to the 10 p.m. embargo, Steve. Sorry, Steve Scott. I might have left. Okay, Rob, you still there?
Yeah, Mike. Yako, what? There's nothing wrong with my curtains.
I don't know what part of your body that is. Is that your chin or your head? There
My head. He also got a bald head like that. Yako coming in, okay, maybe on the bench, but he's only been there a week. Straight into the team. Do you have any concerns?
No, not at all. It's been a funny period for our 10s. I think there's a fifth player to pull or to be playing at 10 if you include Hoggy there as well. And it's a great opportunity for us. It's someone who's we feel will suit our style of play. Someone who's got good confidence the way he's played with Edinburgh, and it's a brilliant opportunity. You learn a fair amount with someone coming off the bench, but someone starting a game, how they hold themselves, how they prepare for a game, how they perform in the game. Giving Yako that number 10 jersey is great for him, and it's great for us to see how he performs and takes on that role.
Cheers, Mike. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Rob. Graham McPherson.
Hi, Mike. I just want to go back quickly to what you were saying about how you've managed to keep the guys amused, if you like, with all the kind of off-field stuff. What's kind of proved to be the most popular? How competitive is it, or is it just the kind of guys winding down a wee bit?
I'll tell you, the most competitive thing is the coaches' football tennis. That has been absolutely brutal. John DL is, I don't know how to describe him. He's competitive and manipulates rules, and so that's a side story. But that's probably the most competitive thing. But it's like some people, probably a third of the squad will say that the golf simulator is the best thing. A third of the squad will have loved the food trucks coming in, and probably a couple of players will just prefer the fact they're away from their families and can sleep as long as they want. So yeah, lots of things, but it's the kind of times we're in at the moment where you need to think outside the box, because if you leave 40 players in a hotel, we're out at the Marriott by Oriam, there's kind of nothing going on within 3-4 miles of you. We're not going to coffee shops like that. You've had to kind of think outside the box about how you keep the guys entertained, but it's definitely brought the players a lot closer as well, spending that much time with each other.
And I guess they probably appreciate that you've made that gesture and it's not just all hard work.
Yeah, and I think they've never eaten so many chocolate brownies in their lives as well, and the coaches as well. They just keep on popping up there.
Doesn't sound too bad, actually.
It's all right.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks. Graham Bean.
Hi, Mike. I think you played the last time Scotland won in Dublin 10 years ago. What do you remember of that game?
I remember playing table tennis about 1 o'clock in the morning with Dan Parks after the game, and he was just doing impressions of the commentator as he was kicking the winning 3 points from the left-hand touchline. But it was an amazing occasion, because it was the last game at Croke Park, and there was a real kind of buzz around the place. And I just remember the last kind of 10-15 minutes just taking control of the game, and we played some really good stuff. Dan Parks was outstanding that campaign. Never thought he'd miss that kick. It was strange. Hoggy was having a kick in train today from exact same place. and without even thinking about it, my mind just kind of drops back to that brilliant moment. So no, good times.
Thanks, Mike. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Graham. Stuart?
Hi, Mike. I was a couple of years ago after a defeat in Dublin that Gregor said Ireland were several years ahead of Scotland in terms of their evolution. But he made plain that he didn't think it would necessarily take Scotland several years to catch up. How close are you to catching up on Ireland as a mature, experienced winning side?
Yeah, it's a good question. You look at the Pro 14 leagues at the moment, and think 3 of the 4 teams are unbeaten in the league at the moment, and the Scottish clubs have struggled a little bit. So our ability for the national team to step up, to make the most of the resources that we've got is really important. They've probably got that better pathway at the moment to keep on bringing the players through. So the job that we do, the job that the pro team coaches do to bring those players through as quickly as possible is absolutely key. But I think Ireland are probably still would see themselves ahead of us, certainly in the world rankings. But we feel that we've done well this campaign without ever kind of really showing that what we're capable of doing.
That's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart. David?
Hi, Mike. I mean,
Hi.
you talked there a bit about, we talked about the Wales game, and Ireland maybe a bit short in confidence compared to where they've been. But this is going to be you look at the problems Wales are facing. This is a step up, really, isn't it, from what you guys faced 3 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, I think so. Wales, as Hoggy mentioned, we were really confident when the first time round in March playing against Wales of winning that game. We just felt that the time was right for it, and coming back playing at Scarlets again, we had that same feeling, and we didn't by any means dominate that game or play really well, but we stuck in at what we were doing, and we got a good win. This Ireland team, you look down the team sheet, like this is a quality team. It's a mixture of experienced players who've played in the jersey for years and some young talent coming through as well. So, the messages coming out in the media about not being confident, like I think they'll be confident with the selection they've got playing at the Aviva, and I think they'll be looking forward to the game as much as we are.
Yeah. Stuart was saying there, that he's happy to win anyway. It's more about the result than the style. Presumably, you're encouraging. We've not seen as much from Stuart as attacking force as we would be used to in years past. I mean, are you guys encouraging him to have a bit more of a go, or is it, it's going fine as it is? Stick to kicking.
Yeah, I think the main thing, David, is balance. Balance of strategy, and at times we feel we've maybe gone too far one way, and at times we feel we've gone too far the other way. So a lot of that decision making is on the players. We'll discuss potential opportunities or kick strategy that might give us back better ball. But obviously there are also times to get our exciting runners like Darcy, Duan, and Hoggy into the game. So it is very much about balance. Defences in world rugby are probably more on top at the moment, not more times being spent on that and the kicking game. So it's harder to break teams down, but we need to still back the quality that we've got to be able to do that.
Yeah. So can I quickly follow up on that, Matt? I know you're in a hurry, but with Stuart being captain, he's obviously taking it very seriously. Do you
I've
worry
never
that...
seen him so serious in these media things. Very, very polished.
Yeah. But from your guys' point of view, the fact that he is feeling that responsibility, do you worry that could impinge on his general outlook, which hasn't always, usually been a bit more exuberant, I suppose, as a player?
I think it's probably still that balance thing, Dave. I think, Stuart's got one of the best kicking games from a fullback as well. So having that as a strength is something important. Like he's come up from Exeter, playing a good brand of rugby there as well. International rugby is slightly different. You have to bide your time a little bit more, wait for the opportunities to come, because if you go at the wrong times, the way the game's going, you're in trouble. But there are definitely opportunities out there. So we'd definitely be encouraging Stuart to to play and not be too conservative with his options. And I don't think captaincy is something that would change his outlook on that.
Thank you. And you're not going to tell me that you've lost football tennis to John DL, are you?
No, of course not.
No, that's all right.
3-0. You can write that if you want.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. That's you.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. See you. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks very much, guys.
That's okay. Guys, can I just give you a quick message if you're going to stay on the call? I'm just going to give you some feedback.